All right, it's recording. So whenever you guys are ready, you guys can start.
Okay, so my scaling is basically going to be Minato is greater than Pain, who is greater than Itachi.
Okay, should I post the scans again, I suppose, or do you, they're
Um,
already there, obviously, so.
you can repost them if you want. Not necessary, but
Okay,
I say repost them. That way Jay knows what you're talking about.
okay.
Yeah.
Alright, so, just posted two scans on several occasions where, opponents of Minato in the past, during the Second Shinobi, World War, fought against Minato and saw the caliber of the speed, essentially. And this is referred to in the War Arc with the Raikage, and Tsunade as well, and then B as well during the after the Turtle Island training, essentially. So you have a couple instances of people who've actually fought Minato, referred to as speed as such, putting Minato relativistic to speeds of KCM1 Naruto. Um, as we saw in the War Arc, Nagato was able to react to opponents of that caliber with his animal summoning. So meaning that Minato wouldn't have the edge, at least in terms of speed, to defeat Nagato. So I don't know if you have any other ways of validating how you would, but feel free.
Okay, so my first problem with that, and I might have to repeat a little bit just because a little bit went over my head because it's hard to follow. Because you talked about B and A who were able to fight with that KCM, which would be like relative. The problem with that, or would know Minato's strength, the problem with that is the fact that they fought a Doni Minato. So they want to be up to date on what Hokage and Minato would be able to be, like Kakashi would be, who just flat out states that like KCM2 Naruto is like relative to like Minato. And to further back this up, Minato is able. Not only does he call Obito a bigger threat than that of the Nine Tails, but he's also able to fight the full Nine Tails himself, who should be as strong as KCM2 Naruto would be. The reason being because KCM Naruto, not KCM, regular Naruto, at least in its stage mode, should be like relative to like half the Nine Tails. And we know the Nine Tails has lost like half of his power because he's lost half of his entire being. So that would mean that the KCM2 at this point, which would be both their powers combined, should be relative to the full Nine Tails.
I mean, you could easily say that Naruto plus half of Kurama would be as strong as Kurama himself. So saying that Kurama would be relative to power to KCM2 Naruto is not analogous because, again, it's an amalgamation of Naruto plus Kurama's chakra to make him the caliber of Shinobi he is. So without you having a way to properly quantify the power levels, I can't really disregard that as factual.
I don't think KCM1 would be that alone, just because KCM1 is like some of the Nine Tails chakra shelved, while KCM2 is Nine Tails like fully feeding his entire chakra pool to Naruto.
Yeah, see,
KCM1 wouldn't be that full Nine Tails.
the problem
So it
is
doesn't
we
matter if
keep
it's
saying,
quantifiable.
well, the problem is we're saying should be in both instances, and so if we can't really have a valid, concrete consensus on this, then you would have to go to empirical data to validate your statement. But we can't do that; it's just an assumption nonetheless. So,
So are you assuming that if like half your being like stopped being a part of you, you'd still be just as strong?
are you referring to Kurama?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, ask that again. I'm sorry.
Are you assuming that if you lost half of your being, you would still be as powerful as you were before, or would you agree that you'd be like half as strong?
I mean, there's no real way to quantify that because Naruto
Can
is.
you just answer the question, please?
I
You
honestly,
either believe it or you don't believe it.
I honestly can't say for sure. Is what I'm trying to get at. There's no way of saying for sure it is or isn't. That's the point.
Well, I'm saying that it definitely would, because if you lost half your being, then you would have half your power, energy, and all that to work with. That's what would make logical sense. So unless you have like a reason why it wouldn't be, then we can deductively say that half Kurama would be half Kurama's power. And if Naruto matches that half, we can now obviously deduct that Naruto and Kurama should be worth the full Nine Tails, since they're relative and their relativity should make up a missing half.
And what's saying that Pain wouldn't be able to take on someone like Minato per se, and just in terms of raw tangible assets?
Because he just flat out admits that like the Nine Tails is like more than he was expecting. And this is not even like the full half of the Nine Tails that Naruto has, which Minato should be able to deal with no problem.
As an Edo, yeah, perhaps. I mean, but you can't say that as a.
I'm sorry, go on.
No, go ahead,
No,
please.
go on. I was just gonna say, like, are you assuming like the Edo is like stronger?
No, I'm just saying, like Edo Minato obviously had Kurama, so he was obviously stronger as an iteration than he was alive.
Well, I'm not talking about like the KCM or Edo. I'm talking about like his alive state was able to deal with the Nine Tails, so it doesn't change too much.
Well, Minato obviously has his own arsenal with like sealing and things of that nature, flying Raijin seals amongst the village. So he had a tactical terrain advantage as well as the inherent abilities plus the genius hood to deal with Kurama. Also, he had Kushina's help in restraining him with the adamantine chains and things of that nature. So it had more context than him just taking him on one-on-one. And
So the problem with
nonetheless,
that is because, like we said before, that was a fatigued Minato. But that's irrelevant because there's also a scene when he's like younger, like before like the war and all that, where he's able to like match blow to blow with not only the Nine Tails, but even in that like near weakened state, he's able to like seal the Nine Tails away with like no problem.
okay, so I mean, yeah, I agree in terms of power. Like he's relative to Kurama, but it doesn't
He was
matter.
also able to get the jump on the Nine Tails to like teleport him, so he has the speed to deal with them. And again, he matches like blow to blow, which means he was able to intercept his attack. So it's speed as well, it's not just power.
Well, attack speed isn't relevant to Kurama's combat speed, though, unless you can prove that.
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question?
I'm saying his jutsu speed wouldn't be relevant to his combat speed.
Why wouldn't it? He'd have to launch his jutsu at his combat speed, otherwise.
Well, I mean, that's your proof of burden. Honestly, it's not mine. You're saying that
if your jutsu activation speed isn't as fast as your combat speed, then you wouldn't have the speed to ever launch your jutsu. And even then, like I'm talking about the fact that he was able to jump in the way of like a tailed beast bomb to intercept it, which isn't anything to do with the jutsu itself. It's still just his speed.
Oh yeah, it's just reaction time, but it's your proof of burden to like quantify how fast that attack would be, though.
It's the relative to the Nine Tails.
And how fast is the Nine Tails?
More than what Pain can deal with.
And what makes you say that? Because of the Pain arc invasion?
Pain's own admission.
Can you provide that statement?
Sure. I hope this is the right one. It's the middle panel. He's got stamina. I had to confirm the extent of the Nine Tails power, but I never imagined catastrophic planetary destruction wouldn't.
Well, again, this is a very, very well fatigued Pain. This is like an older Nagato #1 controlling him. Plus, he spent a plethora of time combating people like.
There's also this one right here. He dug himself out of the catastrophic planetary devastation, incredible power.
But this isn't a full power Pain, though, so it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter because Minato could deal with this at a similar exhausted state. So even an exhausted Minato is like greater than this Pain.
You can't quantify their fatigue levels, man.
I don't have to.
Well, you kind of do if you're correlating Minato's fatigue.
Minato has the better feat, so it's irrelevant.
I mean, that's your arbitrary calculations, but I'm not going to regard that. So
no, it's not. Pain fails to.
If you have any other like
Minato's able to defeat like the full Nine Tails.
Do you have any other way to prove that Minato would beat Pain besides this arbitrary calculation?
It's not arbitrary. I don't need anything else. Minato deals with the Nine Tails twice, while Pain fails to do with them once. So that's irrelevant if you think it's arbitrary.
Minato has been referred to on multiple times to be KCM1 speed, in which Nagato was able to deal with an animal summoning.
He's only referred to that level by people who only know about his Jonin days. While someone like Itachi would know about his more later on because he was with him. And he just says he's KCM2 level.
You have to prove that Minato got faster as a Hokage, though.
Kakashi's statement kind of proves that.
That's just Kakashi's confusion. Obviously, it's not Minato that he's looking at.
Why even remarks
Minato. He literally says Minato because he thinks it's Minato.
Yeah, because he's
obviously that indicates confusion. No, he's looking at an appearance of someone who looks like Minato,
No, because
aesthetically wise as well as speed.
he's
Both
seen
these
KCM1
interpretations,
Naruto who looks
both these
similar.
interpretations will negate each other if anything. So if there's nothing really valid to go on, then
Can
none
you
of
let
these
me
statements go anywhere.
finish this up real fast?
Yeah,
Because
go
you're
ahead.
saying that he's confused by like his appearance, but KCM1 looks very similar to KCM2, so it makes no sense that he'd be confused by that alone. So
Well,
he'd be
he
looking
all,
at more than just appearance. He'd be looking at like his speed and all that. He's specifically, and I can find the statement if you want, but he's specifically talking about the speed, not the appearance.
yeah, go ahead and provide a statement. I think that would be nice at least.
Okay, that's fine. Just give me 1 second. Sorry about that.
I mean, it does make sense aesthetically at least because he does have the coat, the golden hair, um, extremely fast. You know, I mean, Minato was revered for his speed. Obviously, KCM1 alone is revered by his speed from Rikage and B. So I mean, there's very similar facets that go in between the two of them. So again, it correlates to the notion that he is like KCM1 rather than KCM2. Someone's confusion doesn't validate or prove his speed is as such.
I found it. The scan's a little hard to see, so give me 1 second so I can fix it for you. Okay, so there we go. So right here, you see my guy being like, "What? That's so fast." Then Kakashi being like, "What, master?" And they're like, "No, that's Naruto." So like, they're not talking about his appearance; they're talking about his speed. And not only that, my guy also like is comparing to how fast this guy is. So even if this is true, then even my guy thinks that like Minato is this fast.
Well, I mean, that's certainly an interpretation, or you could just say, you know, Minato again was revered for his speed. No one else can move at those speeds, at least beyond someone's comprehension at that certain time. And so it's only fair to assert that Naruto, even moving at speeds of KCM1 or above, would be referring to someone of Minato. Because, again, aesthetically, because of the cloak, the Hokage cloak, and just being fast in general. So this doesn't validate or prove Minato is KCM2. This is just someone's subjective belief that it may or may not be Minato.
That would be true if this was the only thing I had. Like I said before, Naruto would be relative to like half the Nine Tails, and half the Nine Tails power, obviously half the Nine Tails. So together they make the full Nine Tails.
Which
Which once again,
iteration of
Minato has
Naruto?
like showings.
Which iteration?
The one that's training in the waterfall.
So KCM1 or Sage Mode when he's actually training in the astral plane.
I'm sorry, one last time.
You're referring to KCM1 Naruto then?
No, I'm talking to KCM2 Naruto in general. I don't think his base gets any stronger from the point where he's training to get Nine Tails later on.
Well, you do realize that Naruto finally taps into the rest of Kurama's chakra and they become bonded, and so that's why he has like a
that would
power up,
be
if you will. And that's why it's called
Naruto.
KCM2.
That's why I'm saying KCM2 Naruto would be Naruto plus half the Nine Tails to equal the full Nine Tails. I wasn't saying KCM1 was on that level. I was saying KCM2.
On the level of what exactly?
The full Nine
Kurama?
Tails. Yeah, the full Nine Tails.
You're saying KCM2 Naruto is equal to full power Kurama.
Yes, that's what I've been saying this entire time.
Okay, but again, I'm just not seeing how you're making that arbitrary calculation.
Because half the Nine Tails has half the Nine Tails power and all that. Because he is half of its being. If we say not Nine Tails, if we say Naruto is able to match that half of the Nine Tails in power, that means he's relative to half the Nine Tails. If we take both their powers together and combine them, that would be the full Nine Tails in power because of Naruto's relativity to half.
Well, obviously Naruto gains strength. I mean, Turtle Island is one
Can
point
you
in his
prove that?
development. Well, yeah, I mean, he gets KCM 1.5, he gets KCM 2 after the training, so obviously he gets stronger, right?
That's just him getting more of the Nine Tails power. So he's just further and further getting to that Nine Tails mark. Can you prove like his gets stronger or anything?
He's also learning how to like deal with the raw tangible stats. I mean, I remember even B, or I don't know if it was B, but someone says, "Oh yeah, he can move like him, but he doesn't have quite the finesse as Minato." So
that's fine. That's still not like a defeater to my argument.
All I'm saying is he obviously does develop his reaction synapses. His ability
and by
to
the time
utilize
he gets to KCM2, I think he's on the relative of Minato then. but he's not till that point in time, and there's nothing that you've
Naruto.
given so far to argue against it.
Oh, I just have to. I mean, you haven't either, to be honest. I mean, there's no way to
I've
validate.
given you multiple times of the Minato being able to react and fight the Nine Tails. And I've given you the reason why Naruto and half Kurama should be relative to the full Nine Tails.
Well, obviously, Naruto is. He's such. He has so much chakra that it's not fair to just essentially correlate his chakra plus Kurama with what Kurama would be. There's just no valid way.
I'm not doing his chakra. I'm doing off his performance with half the Nine Tails.
Okay, so if you want to say that Minato can combat Kurama, that's fine. I mean, that's fine. But again, it doesn't validate his scaling.
Okay, I think I did. So, do you have any other problems with that part of the scaling, or do you want to move to the other half?
Real quick, cause I'm just trying to like make sure I'm not getting lost in the process. And Jay, you can help me out too. So like Ken, just to make sure, like what you've been arguing the whole time is Sage or Naruto combats half the Nine Tails, meaning relativity or whatever, something like that. So like so meaning if you combine that Naruto's power with I guess Kurama when he's using case or whatever, then he gets to like
KCM2.
Like KCM2, yeah, then he gets the full Nine Tails because of both halves. And then Minato, you said with him, he's combating the full Nine Tails and the Nine Tails incident. Therefore, it's a direct correlation, and that further like strengthens your notion. Is that what you were saying this whole time?
Yes, but a little added on because I wasn't just talking about the Nine Tails incident. I'm also talking about when Kushina went berserk that one time, and he's able to match the Nine Tails at that point in time as well.
Yeah.
Not just in power, but speed as well.
How's that validate speed though?
So I'm done with that part of the scaling. If you have a problem with the other part of the scaling, then we can go to that. If not, then we can go to your scaling.
Yeah, we can go that in a second. Then Shawnobi, your arguments or your refutations back is the arbitrary, like the calculations, the quantifications, like that part. You just don't know anything. And then also, I think you said, and then you said with the Minato, KCM2, and Kakashi and guys seeing it, you're saying it's more with the appearance, aesthetically, and meaning it's his equal interpretations, etc.
Yeah.
And then Ken's thing was, well, they're talking about speed, so it has to be about speed, yada yada. So that's what I've been getting so far. Unless I've missed anything, Jay, what do you think?
Yeah, I think the KCM2 versus full Kurama premise. I'm pretty sure I understood it the same way.
Yeah.
Also,
You guys are caught up then.
yeah, and the argument and contention with the correct interpretation of what Kakashi meant by KCM2 Naruto is Minato. So yeah, I think that's about it.
Oh, correspondence of that stuff, then connecting back with Minato to the Nine Tails, and then obviously with Naruto when he's combating against half and blah blah. Okay, I see what's going on.
Yeah.
All right, I just want to make sure. Shinobi, do you have anything more this way? Because Ken just said his last part. So do you want anything more to that, or?
I mean, so basically what I'm getting is he's trying to correlate the power levels. What I'm just confused on still is how he's correlating Minato to KCM2 besides the one Kakashi statement. If that's all he has, then that's fine.
Gotcha. I guess in simple terms, and then Jay can back me up or he can say it in a different way, I don't care. Is like he's saying basically when Minato combat against like the full Nine Tails, that's further establishing him like connecting to that KCM2 level of scaling because he has like those feats or whatever, blah blah whatever, like with that incident. And then when Naruto fighting half the Nine Tails in like the astral place or whatever, that Naruto's power is to only half. But when Naruto gets like KCM2, because with his power and the Nine Tails, with half the Nine Tails, therefore it allows him to be on Minato's level of what he was doing in the incident. That's what I've been getting from what he's trying to convey. If that makes sense. Jay, does that sound right or no? Or am I tripping?
That is correct. No,
Yeah, exactly. Like the proportionality is the substantiation for why Naruto is relative to Minato in KCM2, basically.
Yeah.
So yeah.
All right. So with that being said, Shinobi, since you have a better comprehension now, what do you have anything more for that? Does that make more sense now?
Yeah, of course. I mean, like I said earlier already, like Minato obviously had helped during the altercation with Kurama, so it wasn't just him going
Yeah.
1v1 essentially. And then the whole confusion or subjective belief thing, and then the proportionality, again, it's just abstract and not really coherent because obviously Naruto develops throughout the series beyond the Turtle Island training. So to disregard that would be, you know, not intuitively honest. So yeah, we'll just leave it at that, I suppose, and we can just go to my scaling. That's cool if you can.
Okay. Wait, do you have any other problems with the rest of my scaling? So you agree that like Pain's above Itachi then?
Fuck, dude.
I mean, I can move on if you're okay with agreeing that like in the circumstance where I get that, then my scaling goes through because Pain's just above Itachi.
Well, again, I'm refuting the Minato over Pain thing. So if that isn't really like substantiated, then there's no point moving on with the rest of the scaling.
I mean, I think it does matter. So if you don't want to tackle that part of my scaling, then I just goes through regardless.
Oh, real quick, I almost forgot. There was another thing. To just cover real quick. The freaking Ken also brought up like Pain struggling with half the Nine Tails power, whatever, some shit, blah blah. And then Shinobi's refutation was, well, that's an extreme fatigue pain, so that can't really be competent to be in consideration for scaling. And I think Ken's refutation was, well, this is his performance, this is what he did. And then we see Minato, he is with the full, so therefore he just has to be over. Was that also what you got from that too, Jim?
That's close. My argument was more that even if this is a fatigue pain, Minato is also fatigued. And even within those factors, he performs massively better with a stronger Nine Tails.
Okay.
Because they're all I'll say about that again is that the events that transpired were obviously different. Fighting against Obito, fighting against Kakashi and others, it's not correlated. It's a different amount of fatigue, and you can't correlate them 1-to-1 proportionally. So that's my argument against that.
And then you also brought up those stuff, Shinobi, am I correct? With him, with KCM, blah blah, and the shit on him. I could have sworn you said that too.
Oh yeah, Pain or
you said Nagato though.
Oh, Nagato, yeah, for sure, yeah.
When he was talking about KCM 1 Naruto, which is irrelevant to my scaling.
Yeah, I know, yeah, because with your whole KCM too, blah blah blah. Okay, I was just making sure I'm getting everything that was just discussed. All right, when you guys, if you're ready to move on though, or if you guys don't have anything to add, then we can keep moving forward. But if you do, then just keep rolling. I'm muting.
Yeah. I just want to make sure that Shinobi's good with the rest of my scaling then before we move on to his.
I'm just going to
want him to get a fair shot at it.
I'm just going to post one more scan to disregard the whole speed scaling thing.
I could have sworn we moved past that, but okay.
Well, you just asked me to if I have any other points, so.
I was talking about the other half of my scaling, but that's fine.
So this is obviously an adult iteration of Raikage, and it literally says that he has speed that's not even inferior to the Yellow Flash. And as we know with the Raikage, when he faced Casey and Naruto, he wasn't even going all out. He literally said he was testing him just to see if he's worthy enough of actually going into the war himself. So this would
I think that's only travel speed. I don't think that's combat speed.
Travels? Okay, got you. What makes you say that exactly?
Because the panel that you see right there is him constantly blocking Naruto so that he can't go to the battlefield. So that wouldn't be him combating Naruto, just getting in the way, which would be battle speed and not combat speed.
Well, he's able to tag Naruto on several occasions while going full speed.
Naruto dodges him. Like he
dodges him once.
Him towards the end.
He dodges him once with the resolving to get to the war.
That would still be him like getting stronger and still like mastering that level of the Nine Tails. So even that like disproves the idea of this combat anyway.
Well, like I said earlier, the Raikage literally said he was testing him, so it doesn't really matter if he like outmaneuvered him at the end. The Raikage wasn't going all out, and it's even self-admitted as well.
So if he's not going all out, then you can't prove that the Raikage just isn't KCM 2 level as well.
The Raikage was arbitrarily holding back, I do agree, but they were relative throughout their encounter, at least most of the time. And there was a test to really maximize the amount of Naruto's capabilities. He really wanted to test like what he's really capable of. So,
but he wasn't fighting Naruto. He was just acting as a roadblock, getting in the way. So that wouldn't be combat speed. That would just be travel speed. And this is with a Naruto who doesn't fully know how to control this Nine Tails power, so it's like irrelevant. Especially since the Minato just has feats this part of the data book anyway. So
What data book statements are those?
I didn't say he has any data book statements. I said he has feats to disprove this data book statement, that being the stuff that I had provided earlier.
And what feats are those?
Him being able to max blow with the Nine Tails multiple times.
I see that again. Okay, cool. All right. Well, the data book is an unbiased piece of literature. There's multiple instances, like I said earlier, that KCM1 Naruto is relative to Minato. You can't prove that Minato is above KCM1 from Jonin to Hokage.
The data book only gives you information up to that point in time, right?
Regardless, though, this is showing an adult, right?
That means the data book can change like on a whim, so it's not like the end all be all. Like one of the data book statements was like,
This isn't my like closer. It's just supplementary evidence.
Oh no, I know. I'm just combating your evidence. Like there's multiple times within the data book where information changes depending on what is has to be convenient. Like Obito throughout the majority of the time isn't called Obito. He's just the masked man. Or like the data book saying like Tamari can like blow away the universe and stuff like that.
Yeah.
The data book itself can only be used if it can be proven within it. And I don't think this is proven within the actual series.
Of course. I do agree there are hyperbolic statements in the data, of course. But the whole KCM1 scaling by Raikage and B, and then this supplementary evidence to back up that notion, doesn't stray too far from the track, essentially. It all correlates with one another. And so it doesn't deem the statement in question hyperbolic. It actually is just providing additional information, if anything.
I don't think that's true because, once again, DNA would only know about the Jonin Minato before he became Hokage. That's, once again, this ends up not being true with A anyway because, once again, he shows feats on powers like KCM to Naruto.
The Raikage does? Oh, no, you mean Minato.
No, I'm Minato, yeah.
Well, obviously, Minato and KCM2 Naruto had to like travel in tandem to be like an effort force, if you will. It doesn't necessarily mean that they're both going all out their full speeds, and then that's usually what they are at their max capacity. You know,
fair. That just means you have no way of proving how close to like A is like anyone. So,
I mean, I can get them to at least KCM1 Naruto at the beginning of the war, which is realistic to Minato on several occasions.
No, Minato just shows better feats later. But at this point, we're going in circles. So
yeah, exactly.
Did you want to combat my Do you want to combat the pain versus Itachi stuff, or do you want to let that go through and just go to your scaling?
I mean, if you want to, we can knock it out real quick. What's your scaling for pain above Itachi? I just don't want to go on too far of a tangent with this because, like, I don't want it to,
Oh no, you're fine. That's why I want to move to the other half of my scaling.
Before you guys continue, real quick, Jay, thoughts so far on that whole segment? So we don't like. Are you taking notes, Jay? If you're taking notes, then that's fine too. I don't know if you're taking notes.
This gives me time to find the ones that I need real fast.
Okay. You might be muted, Jay.
Oh shit, there we go. So with Shawnobi Scan, essentially they were having a point of contention with each other's premise. So Ken seems to be arguing that with this scan, the interpretation can certainly be questioned, and that literality is certainly questionable in the data book, and he provides other examples of literality that is not hyperliteral, but rather hyperbolic. Shawnobi does agree to that, but then he argues that in this instance, that is not the case, which is essentially a false equivalency. He's saying that here there is actual feats and or dialogue in the actual manga that substantiates the statement in the actual data book, which means you can classify that statement as hyperliteral rather than hyperbolic, as in comparison to Mari's statement of the universe blowing away wind. And then Ken argues, well, the feats that Minato shows is why the literality of this statement can be questioned, because Minato has better feats than Naruto, and that's essentially the combat of premises they had with the scan. So that's what I got, at least.
Because the two separate notions right now is Ken's saying Minato is above KCM1, and Shinobi's is he on KCM1. Okay.
Yeah, and also he says he says that a good substantiation to why the literality is in question is because Even the Raikage states, "I'm testing you," implying that he's not using his combat speed, which is him going all out, but rather travel speed because he's holding back to some arbitrary extent.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's what I
Yeah.
got. Yeah, that's what I got.
All right. Cool beans. You guys are good to go to keep going.
Yeah.
Sweet. Give me 1 second. Apparently, there actually is one statement that I'm missing here.
Take your time,
There
bro.
you go. Um, does anyone have that statement from Setsu on hand?
The one after the Pain Arc invasion when he talks to Konon.
No, the one where he talks to, because I have that one. I'm talking about the one like after like,
Shinobi.
Obito's.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, I think I do. Yeah. Hold up.
Yeah. I could post it if you guys need me to, but just let me know.
Let me
That's
see.
the only one I'm missing. What the hell?
Yeah, I might have it too. Actually, let me see.
Yeah,
It's the
Jimmy,
one
you
where
might be,
Obito
to be
says he's
honest,
talking to
like,
Obito.
on my phone right now, so.
Yeah.
Hey, what's up, bro?
Let me
Let's see here.
the one where he's talking to Obito.
It's right
Is it
after
this
he
one right
sends
here?
him to attack the 5 Kage
Is it
Yeah,
the
I
one I
think.
posted, Ken, or is it not that?
No, it's not that one.
Okay, gotcha.
I might have it here. Let me see. There's
This sucks. I literally just grabbed that the other day.
let me see. I think I have it here. Is it? Wait, nah.
I know Loke has it. Loke, do you mind posting that?
That's not it. Shit. I was trying to look for it.
It's hard finding the scan on the whim sometimes, man.
Yeah, I forgot what chapter it was on.
I have the scan. I just lost it in all this crazy. Oh, I found it.
Okay, cool.
I've done that.
Yeah. Yeah, I apologize. I'm normally really fast at that because I actually technically already have that. I just haven't had the time to put all of it into my new phone that I got. So, like, I have to, like, actually go through my shit this time.
Gosh,
So
no.
I've given you
Not on my
5
setup.
scans.
So.
Sorry.
But it literally happens like right when what's it called when Obito approaches Sasuke and they're about to scrap for a moment, and then they all go, and then Zetsu is like talking with Obito, and he kind of says his thoughts on like the whole situation, and everything. So it's during that exact moment. So it's like right after the fight concluded, and right after Naruto spoke with Nagato, and right when Obito and Sasuke are coming to the village. So.
Yeah. So do you see those? And
Yeah, I see your scans.
you see
Yeah.
those? Okay. So if you look at those 5, that's 5 separate instances of 5 different people, not only characters, but even like the author stating that pain is the strongest within the Akatsuki themselves. This would obviously include Itachi himself.
Okay. Well, while Itachi was in the Akatsuki, he was sick, and this isn't the iteration of Itachi that I'm arguing for, so that kind of nullifies that
Can you
one.
prove that Itachi would be stronger than that one?
Stronger than him sick iteration?
Yeah.
I mean, it only makes sense. You would have more chakra. You would have a longer duration in battle.
Can you prove that he has like less chakra based off his sickness? Because the sickness could just be that he just like constantly has like a headache or something.
Well, it was a chakra illness, so I mean, obviously he's not.
I would like to see that if you don't mind.
Uh, so you're
Because
saying?
your argument, no offense, your argument is based on the fact that like his sickness like massively weakens him. So unless you have like some proof of that, I just don't accept it.
Well, the thing is, we never saw sick Itachi at his full capabilities, so there's no real way to quantify how strong he is.
I think we do see Itachi has full capabilities.
I mean, Obito literally says himself, if he wanted to kill Sasuke, he could have. Data book supports that.
That's fine,
So.
but he also has scaling to the Kirin, which Itachi just flat out says could have killed him. and he needed the Shushino to deal with it.
Okay, so it
So
just means
he's
he has.
stronger than Itachi, but not stronger than that Karam.
All that means is he has reaction time to like lightning. That's all it is, really, which isn't really that impressive, honestly.
Yeah, Itachi doesn't have anything impressive for him.
No, I'm saying even while sick, he can easily, almost pretty much blind for that matter, just react
Why
to
would
lightning.
any of these things slow down his stats?
Because his vision is constantly getting blurry, he's disoriented. He has to strategically utilize his abilities correctly because of the limited chakra he does have. I mean, again, he
could just have shit chakra anyway, and blind people can still move at full speed. So
you can't quantify how strong Itachi is either, though. It's like
I mean, it's weaker than Pain.
Itachi, perhaps, yeah, but I'm not talking about
healthy
Itachi.
Itachi would be stronger than weak Itachi.
Based on what we saw from the war compared to what he did as a sick iteration, yeah, I could show that.
I think Edo would just be stronger because he'd have basically an EMS, which wouldn't be the Itachi we would be talking about. Because I think Itachi, even outside of the sickness, just has a really poor amount of chakra and stamina due to the fact that he relies heavily on his MS. And we know the MS
he has
your capabilities.
He just has greater feats as an Edo because he's not barring himself from foiling his plan with Sasuke. Everything is like kept under wraps for a reason to like make his main goal of protecting Sasuke, making him like hopefully defeat Obito, things of that nature.
That's fine, but that Itachi would also have a near infinite amount of chakra, which would also counteract the fact that I think Itachi would just have poor amount of stamina and chakra.
Can you quantify how
healthy?
So, how fast does the chakra exactly regenerate, though?
I would argue near instantaneous, but I could be wrong.
Okay, so we really don't have any real way of concluding that then, right?
But you're the one claiming that healthy Itachi would be massively more powerful than the sick one. I'm asking you to prove that.
Based off empirical events that have happened between him being damn near healthy.
Empirical?
Well, going against Casey and Naruto, going against Nagato.
That's not a healthy Itachi. That would be like an EMS Itachi with a theoretical infinite amount of chakra.
Okay,
so you
obviously,
can't instantly say they're the same.
Obviously, alive, he wouldn't have infinite access to his Mangekyo abilities, but he would be not sick, and he would have, if not better, conventional methods of dealing with adversaries as an alive iteration. And we already saw
I don't think that would change, though. Why would it change? I don't think his sickness affects his stamina or chakra.
Well, again, there's no real way to quantify how strong sick Itachi would really be, and
no, because we're talking about healthy Itachi. You're saying healthy Itachi would be better than the sick Itachi.
I'm saying he'd be better than Edo. I'm saying he'd be better than Edo Itachi.
I don't think that. I think Edo would be massively better than healthy Itachi because of his technical EMS and his near infinite amount of chakra that constantly regenerates. Which we know that healthy Itachi wouldn't have.
Having infinite access to Mangekyo-based abilities does not amplify one's speeds, like combat, reaction, travel, nor does it amplify one's AP. All it does is...
but it does allow him to use his jutsus in such a way that he wouldn't be able to in any other circumstance. The Itachi couldn't bombard the entire field with the Amaterasu, well, Edo Itachi could. Edo Itachi could theoretically hold up his Shushino forever, while a theoretical healthy Itachi wouldn't be able to because of the chakra rate and how much it would hurt him.
Yeah, so I agree he wouldn't have stamina per se as Edo Itachi, but again, that doesn't affect his tangible assets or his AP. So in my eyes, it doesn't really matter. I'm
not saying it would. I'm saying that within this scenario, he wouldn't have the ability to deal with pain in any way because of that limitation, while Edo would have that ability because of his near infinite stamina and EMS.
Well, you still
want to make sure you go ahead, Shawnobi, and then right after you go, Shawnobi, then I'll say my thing. You go there first.
Okay. So as a healthy iteration of himself, he still has access to his Mangekyo abilities. He still has Tsukiyomi. He still has Amaterasu. He still has his speed, things of that nature to combat pain. He doesn't need infinite access. The point of Itachi is when he battles someone, is to end that shit real quick. He's not there for a long fight. That's not his motive, so that doesn't really matter if he can't go as long per se. That's not really how he battles in the first place.
All right. So before you respond to that, Ken, I'm just gonna say one quick thing because I don't want this to continue to go circular. Because you guys are giving like your own logical, what's it called, analysis of everything in between and saying all it whatnot. So what's it called? Just Ken, say your last thing, and then we can kind of have a whole thing. Unless clearly, if Shinobi needs to respond to
No,
that,
that's fine.
Yeah,
I have one last thing to say. If Shinobi
thing,
wants
though,
the
if
last
it's the
word,
same
he can
thing,
use
then
it.
just keep it there. Yeah.
No, that's fine. I have one last thing to say. This will be a bit different, but if Shinobi has something to say, he can. But basically, I'm going to say and point out, what I'm saying isn't that he wouldn't have these things in his sick or healthy variant. What I'm arguing is that because he would still have them in his sick, then these things are still taken into account within that. If you can't prove to me that healthy Itachi is faster, has more chakra, or has more stamina than the sick Itachi, then there's no reason to deduct that there would be a difference between the combat skills of healthy or sick Itachi. So the end results would be the same regardless. And the only thing that's making that change within the Edo is because he has a near unlimited access to these things. So he can do
I think we're just kind of going in circles here. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's all I had to say.
Yeah.
All right.
All right,
What's your whole analysis on that, Jay? The whole thing.
So when it comes to their point of contention there, essentially the argument was, is healthy Itachi superior to sick Itachi? Ken's premise was that there's no way to substantiate that, and in fact, you can argue for the antithesis of that by saying that as an Edo, you essentially have infinite chakra, and because of that, it'd actually be more advantageous for Edo Itachi as opposed to healthy Itachi to engage in battle, indicating that Edo Itachi is actually superior to healthy Itachi. So that's essentially the premise there for why healthy Itachi cannot be scaled above even sick Itachi. Then Shinobi's point of refutation to that was, well, firstly, it's essentially what he's saying is it's axiomatic that because the term sick is in there, by definition, healthy Itachi indicates that Itachi is classified as more superior. And then he argues that regardless of having infinite chakra, your actual stats are inferior when you're in Edo as opposed to your alive iteration. So that's essentially their point of refutation. They're both trying to argue their premise, and obviously we have to, me and Batman have to decide who argued it better. So,
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. All right.
yeah.
So we can move to your scaling now if you want, Shawnobi.
Okay.
Real fast, just because this is getting annoying to deal with. Jay, would you mind making a quick channel just for scans or something? Did you hear me, Jay?
Oh shit, my bad. Yeah, I'll make one. I'll make it under here so it's easy to see. Scans channel.
It's just that the main chat's just overfilling with a bunch of stuff, and I don't want to accidentally lose my look back or something.
Yeah, there we go. You guys should be able to post. I called it scans channel, right underneath main chat.
Sweet, thank you.
What was that? Oh, okay.
He made a scans channel that way we don't have to be bombarded by the main chat.
Yeah.
All right, so I posted scheme for you there, Ken. And then I'm going to provide some scans real quick.
Got it. Could you post your full scaling before you post any actual scans? That way I know what I'm looking at.
I mean, that's pretty much all you need to see there, honestly.
There's nothing in the scans channel.
Oh, okay. I posted it in main chat. My bad.
It happens. It was literally just made, so I can't blame you for it.
Scans channel.
It's right below. Sorry, it might be a bit annoying, but I just figured it'd be easier if we need to look at the scans again.
I'm not seeing the scans channel. Am I tripping?
Let me see.
One second, I got you.
Let me make sure everyone can see it.
I mean, if I can see it, shut up.
Yeah, you should be able to see it.
Okay, there we go. Okay, cool.
Okay, cool.
I don't know who this famey person is, but I appreciate their sense of humor. Okay.
1 second. I'm just gonna post this scaling chain video.
Thank you.
All right, there you go.
Okay.
So basically, as we know, like Obito is quite contentious with Minato, even as like an adolescent. He was 14 at the time. They even regarded it as a game of inches, if you will. And this was an adolescent Obito. Obviously, he's a lot older when he makes the statement that I provided. Itachi is really dangerous, not only because of his conventional methods, but his intellect can really help supersede the match, if you will. So for Obito to regard Itachi in this manner on several occasions throughout the narrative, without conducting upon his plan, without Itachi's death to happen first, it indicates that Itachi was someone to fear for Obito, who, as we know, took on Minato, like I said, as an adolescent. And then we just start with that part of scaling if you want.
So most of the time when Obito's talking about Itachi, like an opponent and all that, he usually talk about his ability to like do something like Star mentioned. So like one of the things he could have done was like gone and like given like all the information of the Akatsuki's to the Leaf Village had anything happen. And when he's talking about like if Hitachi had known about him, he would be dead. He's just talking about his ability to like sneak in like his Amaterasu and other stuff like that around like the world. So he's just saying that he could have like prepared for like Izanami or something. Like he would have killed him before, try to find a way to kill him beforehand. I don't think this proves like Itachi has like competitive like relativity to Obito, just his ability to plan traps ahead of time.
I mean, it's kind of said verbatim, like he would be dead if Itachi knew more about him. Essentially,
yeah, but he's not talking about like if they were to go head to head in battle, just his ability to plan traps. Like
well,
whether it be Sasuke's Amaterasu, which wasn't him like fighting him directly.
You do realize
unless you think Sasuke could kill him.
The Amaterasu is not the ability to fight against opponents at that speed, though. The Amaterasu is not known to be a very fast attack, if you will. It's meant to be a DOE attack, essentially.
No, it's known to be incredibly fast. What are you talking about?
From Itachi?
No, Setsu literally just says it's an undodgeable jutsu.
Well, yeah, because it incinerates whatever it takes, but obviously we've seen it be dodged on multiple instances. I mean, even
no, that would just make it unblockable. He says it's an unavoidable jutsu. Those are two different things.
But we see it be avoided before. Even when the 5 Kage summon Sasuke used it on the right Kage, even Gaara was able to intercept it.
He was avoiding where the jutsu was going. He just
also
proposing where it would go. He wasn't dodging the jutsu.
When Sasuke utilized Amaterasu that Itachi implanted into him, Obito avoided the attack. He got out.
No, he didn't. He got hit. He just Izanami'd himself out.
He Izanami'd himself.
Yeah. No, not Izanami. He calmly himself. Sorry.
Yeah, so he avoided the attack essentially. He came out.
Still got hit.
He avoided it by definition.
No, he just managed to block it.
So when you say unavoidable, it
avoiding
means hit whatever.
Avoiding would mean that you can't be touched. It's like not like dodgeable. Avoidable, like sorry, it's not unavoidable because Obito had got tagged by it. He just managed to get out of the attack.
Just because Zetsu says it's unavoidable doesn't necessarily make it true, though. It's not like he's the one who has Amaterasu. I don't see why he has such credence in his statement.
Zetsu has been around for the entire Shinobi world. And he was talking to himself, so why would he lie?
And also, when Itachi uses Amaterasu on Sasuke, it gets avoided by the Fireball Jutsu. So,
one more time.
When Itachi utilizes Amaterasu on Sasuke, he avoids it by using the Fireball Jutsu. So,
no, he was already using the Fireball Jutsu. He just used the Amaterasu to consume the Fireball.
He utilized Amaterasu intending for it to hit Sasuke, but it didn't. Therefore, he avoided it.
No, he didn't. He used it to take care of the Fireball Jutsu that he was losing against.
But he still avoided it. It doesn't matter if he utilized the jutsu or not. He himself avoided the attack.
Sasuke was not the target. How can you avoid something that wasn't intended to hit you?
What else was he using it on?
He was using it on the Fireball. Like I said, they were in the middle of a Fireball clash and Sasuke was winning. They use
Okay,
the
what
Amaterasu
about?
to deal with it.
Yeah, I
If
don't
you're
know.
talking, if you're going to talk about the fact that Itachi like missed him on the
Uh,
rooftop, Itachi wasn't meaning to hit Sasuke.
hang on, I'm gonna interject. What he's saying, Ken, is he
I know what
knows of
he's
like
saying.
he's
I
talking
know
about
what
like
he's
in
saying. No offense.
yeah.
I mean, point is, there's points where like Amaterasu gets absorbed. I mean, there are multiple instances where Amaterasu doesn't always get what it's intended to. So that
The only times it doesn't is when we get into like the 6th path level characters,
it
and that's
doesn't
just
matter how
because
strong
Itachi
or
has no
not they
support
are.
to them.
They still avoid it. That's the point.
No, they always hit, it always hits the target. It just usually has to be blocked. The only times that we
If
learned
it
him to like
intends to
dodge
hit
it
someone and it
was
doesn't,
A, because he was dodging where it was going, not the actual
okay.
jutsu.
Okay. Well, I think we've tackled this point. I don't want to digress too much, but
Okay, that's fine.
so
Just for clarification, real fast, just because I feel like it got lost. My main point there is that Itachi isn't relative to Obito because of any combative capability, but just because of his ability to plan traps to kill.
Yeah, so you're
I
saying
don't
his
think
jutsu. You're saying his jutsus can scale to Obito, but not necessarily his stats, his body.
correct.
Okay, cool. And then Shinobi, his whole so I'm just gonna recap that round, I guess, to the best of my ability. Jay, help me out at any point in time, because I'm kind of on my phone, so it's a lot more harder. But
Yep.
basically, Shinobi's whole thing with the whole Mataratsu thing, and also like Itachi scaling to Obito, was based upon Obito's statement to where he's like saying these things in his mind, and basically saying if Itachi knew everything about him, he would most certainly be dead. And this is where I need help with you, Jay. He elaborates further on that if you want to say that part, because that's what I kind of missed.
Yeah.
But
So when it comes to the Obito scan, where he's reiterating that Itachi's a threat, Ken's premise was that he's saying this in relation to his intelligence and his deceptiveness, not really his ability and caliber as a combatant in a one-on-one altercation. While conversely, Shinobi is arguing the positive of that. He's trying to argue that it is
yeah,
because Itachi is just that significant of a caliber in Shinobi, and that is why Obito respects him to such high degree. So essentially, they're both arguing for their premise, and obviously they're antithetical to each other. They're trying to get the upper hand in like the who had the stronger premise. So
exactly. And then it
yeah,
gets into the Mataratsu statement, which Ken brought up, which is Zetsu, where he says it's unavoidable. And then like Ken's like we further see that where it's reinforced with like Sasuke to Obito, to where Sasuke uses a Mataratsu, which is Itachi's ability, and it's able to get an Obito, whatever. I believe Shinobi said that he wasn't hit. Correct me if I'm wrong, Shinobi, but you said he wasn't. That he like used Kamui or whatever, and then Ken said he was hit. That he just used his Kamui to basically remove it off and like block it in a sense. That's kind of what happened there. And then I think Izanami was thrown up for some reason. I don't remember why.
yeah, I
I
know.
missed
Yeah.
him.
Okay, so you just misspoken. All right. So regardless of that, that's kind of what I heard with there. And once again, that's just corresponds to the whole argument of like the jutsus and abilities is what can be a threat to Obito. But anyways, then it went from where also Shinobi responded with a Mataratsu where it's not unavoidable, and the statement is incorrect because there's been multiple instances where it just literally is dealt with or avoided. They were kind of basically arguing semantics of avoided at that current,
yeah,
current point in time
Yeah,
because
yeah.
yeah, so I'm not going to get into that. But Shinobi's thing was like Gar uses sand to block or whatever react, and then and I think he said some other things. He even brought up like other people absorbing or whatever, yada yada. And then Ken's whole refutation was, well, once again, these characters aren't technically avoiding whatever blah blah because they're still getting hit, but they're blocking the sun, yada yada yada. That's what the whole thing was. So that's what I basically got from here. We can move forward unless you guys have anything else.
No, continue with your scaling and tell me why like Itashi's like greater than Minato.
Well, if there's no more contention with the first part, then obviously, as we know, Obito was able to be contentious with the Hokage Minato as a 14-year-old child. And so, if Itachi's at all relative to an adult iteration, that implies that he's adult above Minato. And as I provided earlier, we know Minato's speed scaling, and then I can provide some examples of Tachi face off against someone of that speed as well.
Okay.
And then there's also
Real fast.
Yeah, go
real
ahead.
fast while you say that, I'm going to go ahead and disregard any of the Obito scaling to Itachi just because I believe I did disprove that. But if you have anyone else, then I'll look at it.
Okay, then I'll just say, with your point of you would need to be, he
Okay,
would be
so
able
your
to
first statement is just the same as the scaling that we went past. So no offense, but I'm going to disregard it.
Well, you just brought it up again, so.
No, I said we've already gone through the Obito versus Itachi thing, and I believe I had went through that. So since the first one is Obito versus Itachi, I'm going to disregard that because it's a part
Do
of the
whatever you
debate that
want,
we've
man.
already
Do
gone
whatever you want.
over.
Go ahead. Absolutely.
I'm just letting you know so that way you're aware.
I'm just letting you know. Yeah, go ahead.
You can. I think he's trying to add further to the whole scaling of like Itachi to Obito.
No offense, but then he should have brought that up during that part of the debate. That'd be like trying to bring up like power. Like if we had gone over power,
But
and then he tries to bring up power.
I understand. We just get on these really long tangents, and then it kind of is distracting.
Oh no, it's fine. Like I would have stuck on that point if you wanted.
I thought that like if you guys have anything more to add on this, then go ahead. If not, then move forward. So I don't know.
Yeah, and I literally was about to, but then he started talking. So I mean.
Yeah.
No,
So essentially,
I
yes.
told you if you want to move to the next part of your scaling, you can, and then you did.
No, I said unless we've like if we've gone over the first part, then yeah, I can. But
yeah, so it's just I think what's going on right now is it was a misinterpretation, Ken, to where like when he said he was going to go into the next scale, like he meant like like still corresponding to the whole Itachi to Obito thing. It was just going to be a whole new thing instead of what you just discussed, not like an entirely new scaling separate from Itachi.
Then for the future within this debate, do me the favor. If only say you're moving on to the next scan if you're moving on to the next part of your scaling. If not, then say this is continuous on this part.
No, I agree.
No, it's fine. I just misunderstood you.
Okay. All right.
Cool. All right.
Yeah.
Keep going. Obito and Itachi.
All right. It's just more supplementary evidence. Just saying, Obito said himself that. Oh no, Itachi said himself that he could kill Obito. And then in regards to them being relative, we do know Obito defeated. Well, not he didn't defeat, but he was quite relative to Hokage Minato. It took basically Minato's like trump card to defeat Obito at the end of the day. This was a kid Obito, mind you. And we're getting all these statements after the fact when he's like alive. He's had a lot more time on his hands to develop his powers, things of that nature. Gather intel from Madara. And so he's developed as a shinobi. And then yeah, I'll just leave it there.
Can you prove that Tachi could actually kill Obito at this point in time, and that's just not his arrogance?
I mean, him conceding that is all the evidence I really.
He didn't concede it.
I mean, he says, "Or else I would be dead," and then Itachi isn't someone to just undermine Shinobi. He's quite a genius, to be honest, and he literally says he can kill him as well. So it says literally kill.
Where do you see him say that Itachi is not a ninja to be undermined?
Repeat that. You kind of like went low.
Where do you see the statement of Obito saying Itachi is not a ninja to be undermined?
Gosh. All right. Well, I mean, Itachi obviously isn't going to just say you can kill anyone without actually having a full grasp of their capabilities. When he went against Nagato,
doesn't know Obito like that at this point in time.
But Obito doesn't know Itachi like that either, to be honest.
Yes, he does. He's been watching the clan.
Obito didn't even know about the. Obito didn't even know about the Tosuke blade or anything like that. So I doubt he full capability.
Wait, why do you know he doesn't know about the Tosuke blade?
Because that's who didn't even know about it.
He didn't know that he had it, but that's kind of irrelevant at this point in time.
He didn't know he had those spirit weapons, and obviously Zetsu is the intel guy.
That's fine. Once again, I'm going to ask why Itachi knows that he can kill Obito.
Well, he says it verbatim.
He just says that if Itachi had known more about me, I would be dead. Which, like I said, is just his ability to set up traps and stuff like that.
Well, Itachi Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Um.
So like,
So
unless you can prove to me like verbatim that like Obito like you're like direct combat with Itachi, I
I
don't
don't
think
see why
you fulfill
Obito
this
has any.
burden.
I don't see why Obito has any reason to just say that for no reason.
I'm not saying he did, but I'm not saying he's saying it in regards to combat. And I don't think you've proven that
You
he
have to
is.
be competent enough in conventional methods to like, even if you're smarter than someone and you have the tactical advantage, you need to have adequate abilities to like accentuate that. Essentially, if you don't, then
Go on, I'll
your
wait.
intellect doesn't mean anything. Yeah, go ahead.
So do you think like Boruto is like stronger than Ishiki now?
Why would you ask that?
Because he doesn't scale to him at all, yet he had the ability to take him out. But that wasn't due to like his final stats, but that was because of circumstances and his ability to plan to take him out.
Boruto and Ishiki?
Not Ishiki, Momo, sorry.
Oh, okay. I was like, what the hell are you talking about? Um. Okay, so
That'd
one
be
more
the
time.
second
That
just
just threw me off.
then.
Yeah, that threw me off. So what about Momo?
So do you think that Boruto now just automatically scales to like Momo then?
I never made that.
Well, okay, so like Momo has, on top of what I just said, Momo also has a similar statement where he like says like Boruto's like a god now.
Well, Boruto essentially is like a Jinchuriki. Once he gets like a Tutsuki fight enough, he's going to be stronger than Momo, just because it's kind of how it is. Like you're stronger than like your tailed beast, quote unquote. You know.
But basically, what I'm saying is like characters can like admit that other people are like powerful and could be a threat to them, not necessarily because of combative capabilities that they have, because of outliner factors. In this case, it would be Itachi's intelligence and his ability to plan around certain events.
Okay, I got you. Yeah, the only problem I have with that is like it makes sense with Boruto and Momoshiki, and it makes sense with Obito and Itachi narratively. So
Okay.
yeah.
Do you have anything else here, or?
And then yeah, let's just go over the other scans I posted finally. Basically, this is Itachi being able to combat KCM1 Naruto, both in taijutsu and reaction speeds. And mind you, this is a base Sharingan Itachi while he's in Edo.
Okay.
So the Mangekyo grants the user, faster reaction speeds. And again, as an Edo Tensei, he'd be weaker in conventional methods than in a live iteration. So
Can
he
you
could use
show me both those things real fast?
the Mangekyo statement.
I'll take both. Yeah, if you have the Mangekyo and the idea that
Does
the
anyone have that on hand by
would be
chance?
weaker.
I don't have that on me, but
I have one, but I don't think it's the one you're looking for. I have the
I
one
could.
from the Daylight novel where Shishui says that the MS allows him to mold like several times the amount of chakra.
Well, that's not really what I'm trying to advocate for, but
There's also the data book for Sasuke, if you're looking for that one.
well, I mean, like, if you really need it, sure, but I mean, it's just kind of like whenever the Sharingan evolves, it always grants the user extra perceptional abilities.
I
Even from
don't think it does. The only thing I can think is like if it makes like your MS ability, like your Sharingan, like it gives you like new Sharingan abilities, but that's about it. Like I don't know if it ever says it grants better perspective.
okay, let me just post this scan. I guess I do have this one.
Okay.
So this is like Itachi reacting to Kabuto, and this is like him versus EMS Sasuke and Itachi. And then I have another scan to put them like relative to each other. So it basically says here that
How
Kabuto, they
does
were
this
able to. Yeah, go ahead.
prove the MS thing?
Well, I'm just saying, like, well, yeah, that's a good point. I don't really have that like scan on me, but it's just implied, throughout the series. I mean, if anyone has that, great. I don't have it on me right now. I think it would be a hassle, but
The only two I have, and that's the reason why I said something. The only two I have is the one where it says that it can mold more chakra, and then there's one where Sasuke's stats go up after acquiring the MS. But neither one of those helps you because they're both situational.
Okay. Well, since I don't have the statement, I mean, nonetheless, I'm just gonna say like it's inferred throughout the series. If you don't take that, it's completely fine. But there is a fact that he's also in Naruto. And then I could try to provide something like that that validates that. Um,
Okay. Because don't take this the wrong way, but I just don't want to say that like face value.
I think it's trivial. I mean, I think we both know it does, but that's fine. Um,
I mean,
so
you could argue that it does, but that doesn't make it like absolutely true. Because again, like we know when one activates the MS, they gain like very powerful abilities, which help them within combat. Like there's nothing to like definitively say stats instantly go up.
it's kind of inferred because when Sasuke gets 2 to 3 Tomoe, he gets faster reaction time. When he gets EMS, moderate marks, he's got nicer moves than before.
But that's the
He's got,
Sharingan specifically. Like the EMS and the Sharingan aren't the same thing.
I
We know
understand
when you
that, but what I'm
activate the
saying is
Sharingan,
like,
you don't get new
what?
abilities.
No, I'm not saying you get new abilities. You just get faster reaction time.
Yeah, that's only true with when you unlock more Tome. The MS doesn't grant. So basically, what I'm saying is when you evolve the base Sharingan, you gain an increase in stats, but you don't get new abilities. When you increase to the MS, you get new abilities, but you don't
You
get
also
increased
gain
stats.
reaction with the 3 Tomoe as well.
Well, that's just increased stats.
Okay, so well, let's just go into the other scan. It's just basically Hashirama remarking like he's regained his past strength when he finally gets to that. When he finally faces him again. This is Madara who was reanimated by Kabuto. So even the customized version of Madara that was reanimated wasn't as strong as he was when he was alive, essentially. And again, this is like Madara. This is like Kabuto's like prime card. So even though it's
Madara is
arbitrary,
just massively powerful. How does this prove Itachi was weakened?
because he's an Edo Tensei as well.
I mean, just because one's true doesn't mean both are true. One apple can be rotten and the other one may not. You can have two apples, one apple be rotten, but that doesn't make the other apple rotten as well. And just
Well,
because Madara is weakened doesn't
they're
mean Itachi is
utilizing the
either. You're
same.
just assuming.
He's utilizing the same jutsu on both of them, so I'm not assuming.
So,
Toby remarks this as well when he's like close to his like original power. It's just the Edo Tensei is always being inferred to be arbitrarily weaker than the live iteration. Even though I can't quantify that, it doesn't really matter.
can you prove that's true for all the Edo Tensei? I think, can you prove that's like, if I remember correctly, and I can try and find it, but
You can't
Kabuto, if
with
I remember correctly,
Itachi.
says,
You can't with Itachi
or not,
because he's never gone full out the whole series. So
well,
he's
then
a
you're
very
just
situational
assuming it.
experience. I mean, it's just inference. It's just induction. You know. So even though it's arbitrary, he would be able to at least react to KCM1 as an alive iteration, especially with this long Gecko out. And that's where I scale Minato to. So he'd be able to react to anything that Minato does against him.
Wait one second.
And
Keep going. I'm listening.
yeah, and then if they're relative in speed, he can block any attack. Doesn't matter how powerful it may be with the Yadamir. Um, he can use Genjutsu because they're relative in speed, in which Minato has no tool to utilize to get out of that. And it doesn't matter if he doesn't have enough of a duration in terms of stamina. He has the abilities at hand to endly quick the battle.
How are you getting Itachi relative to Minato?
I'm saying Itachi's above Minato
How are you getting there?
because Minato is relative to KCM1 Naruto, and we saw what Itachi did to KCM1
KCM
Naruto.
Naruto is weaker than Minato.
Well, I've already done my speed scaling with that, so I think I don't think we should have to argue over that again.
Oh, that's fine. So my reputation would just be what I said earlier with my KCM scaling.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah, I don't think there's no point going all over it again. But yeah. So as an alive iteration, you just be able to react to opponents faster than KCM1 Naruto, at least to some arbitrary degree. And that's where I scale Minato essentially.
Okay. So is that
And
both?
then,
And I'm just asking this just so I know what's going on. So is this the entirety of Itachi being over Minato in conjunction him being relative to Casey and Naruto?
well, there's also the matter, like, he's also obviously an Uchiha. He has, like,
I'm
Genjutsu
just
art.
I'm sorry, I'm going to stop you real fast. I'm just trying to make sure I know which part of the scaling we're on. That way I don't do the same thing I did earlier where I try to, like,
Yeah,
make
this
you go
is just
quick.
kind of like, yeah, this is kind of just like a speed scaling kind of thing, to prove he
But
has,
is
like,
it but is it Itachi being greater than Minato and therefore being relative to Casey in one?
yeah, I'm saying Itachi's over Minato, alive, who's relative to Casey One Naruto, correct?
Okay. I just wanted to make sure that was the part of scaling we were on. Okay.
And then, so there's
Go.
also the matter of, like, if they are, relevant speeds, or at least Itachi would be greater to some arbitrary degree, at least hypothetically healthy and alive. Um, there's a matter that he has, like, Genjutsu, and that would force Minato to not look at him directly. Um, Itachi also has Genjutsu where he doesn't even need his ocular prowess. He could just use, like, his finger, for example.
Good.
And so there's nothing to say that Minato has any Genjutsu resistance, unless he's, like, very vastly above them in speed to, like, not be in the line of trajectory with the jutsu at hand. So he is hindered by his lack of vision, and that would definitely, like, be a handicap in this situation. And even if, like, he was somehow immune to Genjutsu, right? There's nothing he can do to, like, get past the God immune or bypass the reaction speed of Itachi to manifest Susanoo in the first place.
Okay.
Yeah, so yeah.
So the first thing I'm going to say for Genjutsu 1, I don't think Itachi would be fast enough to do it by the fact that I have Minato scaling to KCM2 Naruto, who's just blatantly faster. But even if we sit there and say that could be a potential problem, Minato should have access to Ma and Pa since he's trained with them. So they would allow him to break out of any other Genjutsu outside of Tsukiyomi. Which realistically, Minato shouldn't be dumb enough to look Itachi in the eyes anyway. What was the other thing that you said in that thing?
What was it? Let's say, like I said, he's somehow
Oh,
immune to get.
sorry,
Yeah.
I remember. Because you're talking about how they have the relative speed scaling. Actually, you know what? Yeah, I think I covered everything you said there.
So with your Ma and Pa thing, like, if he does get hit, you do realize he has complete control over space, time, and matter within that realm, essentially, or dimension. And so he could
Only
really just, like,
Tsukiyomi, man.
yeah. Well, Tsukiyomi's a Genjutsu, right? So,
Why would he look Tsukiyomi? Why would he look Itachi in the eyes?
well, because obviously he doesn't know about Itachi, more so
No, but
Itachi
he
does
knows
about
how
Minato.
Uchiha works. Like, he's trained them, he fought alongside them, so he knows not to look Uchiha in the eye. So
It's
he's not
more of
just
like
going to look Itachi in the eyes.
it's more of like an element of surprise. It doesn't take long for him to activate it, because he is, like, light speed in terms of synapses and combat and reaction times. So,
Okay.
and Minato is relativistic to light speed. So there's no way of saying, like, Minato could dodge before Itachi can activate and then activate Tsukiyomi in conjunction.
He just wouldn't look him in the eyes.
Okay, so that's a handicap
So he
then in
wouldn't
this
need to
battle.
dodge it. It's
So
not
you'd
really a
have to
handicap. He
you'd have
just
to
look at
fight the whole
everything through his
battle.
eyes.
You'd have to fight the whole battle without looking at Itachi then.
No, he just has to fight without looking in the eyes.
Even then, Itachi has other Genjutsu that are ocular based. So
Okay? He just doesn't
so
look him in the eyes.
he's still susceptible, though, towards other Genjutsu.
Naruto was able to break out of Itachi's, like, thing or Genjutsu, right?
Well, he had help, though. It wasn't him by himself. It was Sakura and Chio, if I'm not mistaken. And Naruto has a lot of freaking chakra. Um, obviously, it takes, like, immense chakra control to get out of that, but I mean, you have to prove he can do that in the first place. So yeah, if he's essentially blinded or handicapped at least, it's quite advantageous for Itachi. He won't be able to see this Amaterasu destroying the battlefield, destroying his seals, things of that nature. susceptible towards his other genjutsus if he doesn't look at him. And then, honestly, Itachi just go for a quick Tosuke blade, GG, you know? It's not going to want to prolong the battle.
So, like, as I was saying before, and sorry if I got distracted for a brief second, all of Itachi's more powerful genjutsu will just be ineffective because Minato would know not to look him in the eye. And even someone like Naruto has like no genjutsu resistance is able to break out of Itachi's genjutsu.
It
So
was with help,
genjutsu
though.
is not a factor here.
It was with help, though.
Can you show me that?
You're saying that he broke it by himself since you're proof of burden.
Okay, I get that. What chapter was that? It's like 200 something, wasn't it? No, wait,
I think it's like 140, I think, actually, like when he fights Kakashi. Oh, no, that's like in the... Yeah, never mind, scratch that, yeah.
I feel like
Way
it's gotta be
afterwards.
200 something. Oh yeah, that's like... Wait, what's going on here? What? Yeah, because this is the finale. You know what? Forget it. I'm just gonna drop it. I just don't think Itachi would be able to hit him with genjutsu.
I mean, you can think that, but he has the abilities to do so.
He has the abilities, but he doesn't have the speed.
Well, we've already went over the speed scaling thing, so, I mean...
Okay, that's fine.
That's all you have against genjutsu, then we can move on.
Okay.
Alright,
So do you have anything else within this scaling, or?
Just to add on, not pertaining to genjutsu specifically, but again, if he can't see him because he is, worried or apprehensive about getting caught by genjutsu, he's handicapped because he can't see as well as he normally could. So yeah, I'll just say that real quick. Yeah.
The only other thing I'll add in with the genjutsu is it's just flat out stated that the Uchiha Sharingan is only dangerous when you're in a one-on-one situation, where Minato would be able to summon at least 5 summonings to help deal with it, so it wouldn't be one-on-one. So even granting the idea that he can get in anything besides Tsukiyomi, it wouldn't be a matter because of the teamwork. The teammates with Minato could summon at any point in time.
Well, if we're gonna say that, let's say like he doesn't automatically just Tsukiyomi's Minato. If he does summon his summonings like Gamabunta or Gamakin, he just genjutsu them as well. Honestly,
I don't think he'd be able to Tsukiyomi all of them.
No, I don't think he needs it, to be honest. I don't think he needs Tsukiyomi to like. Okay, then why would you say that?
Because
I mean, Sasuke was able to genjutsu Manda with the base Sharingan. So why can't Itachi like genjutsu Gamabunta, who's the strongest of the Toads, right? And we know from Danzo that Itachi is way superior than Sasuke genjutsu.
Oh, when I said I'm talking specifically Minato. I'm talking like the base, like out of the Sharingan genjutsu.
Yeah, so like Sasuke was able to
try the other. And sorry, I'm also saying that if he were to try the other Sharingan genjutsu, that the other teammates there would be able to break them out of it. Not that he couldn't hit them at all, but just that the fact that there's people there would be able to intercept and stop the genjutsu. But Manda didn't have that help.
I mean, at least
I'm not saying he can't hit them, but they can release out of anything besides Tsukiyomi.
Okay, so let's say he doesn't automatically Tsukiyomi Minato, then he summons the summonings. He manages to genjutsu them. Great, they break out of it. Itachi is just way faster than any of them, to be honest. Like, even if he temporarily disables one of them and the other ones are trying to help him to get out of that, then he can just speed blitz them and Toadsuke Blade, Amaterasu them if he really wanted to from a distance. So
I don't think Shino would be useful because I think Minato could just teleport it away.
Well, the Yotamir is said to repel all attacks, spiritual, physical, it doesn't matter what it is. So if he touches it and tries to enact chakra-based jutsus, it's not going to work.
That's not true. The Orochimaru's 8-head serpent rams into it and attacks him.
Well, he was extremely handicapped during that situation, though. You'd have to prove that amount of fatigue correlates to him as a healthy version.
No, you're the one claiming that the two are relative.
I'm not claiming sick Itachi is relative to healthy Itachi.
Yeah, you're claiming he's greater, which isn't even a bigger thing. So what I'm currently saying is that there are attacks which have affected the Yotamir. And we know Minato can teleport stuff that are as big as like the Nine Tails. So there's like nothing stopping it from like teleporting the entire Shushino away.
Can you show how it affected the Yotamir, please?
Sure, give me 1 second, please.
I'm just gonna post this about the Yotamir and Totsuka Blade. I hate when like people say Totsuka. Shit's so funny.
I might have to go to that part of the manga.
That battle is
Bear
like
with me.
380, I want to say, something like that.
It's got to be a little bit further than that. I'll try 380 and then I'll see where it is from there.
Okay, I'm just guessing. Yeah.
That is Pain's fight with Jiraiya. So
okay,
not too far off.
Yeah, we're almost there.
So I'll go 400 for now. Oh, that's jumping it way too much.
Oh yeah. Oh, it's 390, 391. That's what we're looking for. Yeah, 392 actually. I think it's when he finally manifests it. I wasn't too off.
I found it. Okay. I did it twice, but who cares? Okay, so there you go. You see the snake ran into the Shushin when he gets pushed back slightly.
Okay, well, I don't see how this is actually like chipping or damaging the actual mirror, though.
That just means the Yotamir didn't fully stop the attack.
All it means is it didn't repel him.
Yeah, that's all I really need.
It's a shield.
It doesn't stop all attacks fully.
What do you mean? What do you mean by stop? You mean just going to be immobilized and just like float in the air because he attacked it or something?
No, it pushed him back, meaning some of the energy went into it, meaning the shield didn't fully repel it, which means something like Minato's Flying Thunder God could teleport it away. But I'm not even talking about the mirror itself. I'm talking about the Shushino as its own. I'm just showing that he could get the mirror if he wanted.
I mean, he literally stood his ground for what you're showing here, and then proceeds to swipe him while holding his ground.
Yeah, he kills it, but that doesn't. What's going on to the rest of his head doesn't disprove what I'm saying happens with the mirror.
I know. What I'm saying is he's holding his ground. He's not getting pushed back. And regardless, the point of the Yotamir is to like, negate all attacks from like causing damage on the actual shield. That's the point of the Yotamir.
Then teleporting it is completely irrelevant then, because then he can just take it away.
Teleporting is
that doesn't do damage.
It's a ninjutsu-based attack.
Yeah, but it doesn't damage. You're arguing now that it stops damage.
Okay, let me just read verbatim what it said, okay? That way there's no confusion. Is a left hand rejects every attack, both substance and spirit, and ninjutsu and physical attacks. Lose completely their meaning before the effect of the
vagina is ready.
So it's doing its job essentially. It's not meant to repel them like a Bancho Tenin or something like that. It's meant to absorb any damage that may inflict it and negate the damage from doing anything towards the mirror itself, which is what it did. It held its ground and it did its job, and he subdued Orochimaru easily after that. Mind you, again, this is Itachi extremely fatigued, barely any chakra levels, having trouble even manifesting Susanoo to begin with. So I don't see how this is actually analogous to a healthy Itachi doing this.
Again, can you prove that there's a difference between the two Itachis? Like I said at the very beginning of all of this.
Well, you can't prove how strong Sekitachi is really, and neither can I. So we have to come to
That's
some
not
close
my
conclusion.
claim, though. If you can't prove that there's a difference, then there's no reason to assume there is.
No one can prove, Ken. No one can prove how strong Sekitachi really is. That's
So
the
then
point.
you're just automatically assuming that there's a difference.
No,
There's like no
I'm
assumptions
not
on
trying
my
to go over
part.
this again. I literally said he has feats what he did as an alive iteration and what he did as
Okay.
sick. And it's
And
just,
even if this is true, how does this affect the strength of his Yadomir or his Shushina and their ability to be teleported?
if he can't manifest the Susano like with like consistency, it's gonna very limit his strategic plans, his ploys. But if he manifests it, gets the Yadomir out, it's gonna do its job. That's just kind of what it does.
Well, at this point, I think we're going circular. So I'll
Okay.
just say my final thing is that I think even if the Shushino is used, Minato has the speed and ability to remove it. And then his Genjutsu is just useless because he has the ability to create teammates, which helps deal with any Sharingan jutsus outside of the Tsukiyomi. And Itachi just can't hit him with the Tsukiyomi. So you can have your final words on that now.
Yeah, I mean, have you ever seen Minato like transport a Susanoo away per se? I don't think so. I've never seen it personally. So
I've
that's
seen him teleport to
inconclusive.
Ninetales.
Yeah, that's not a Susanoo, is it?
No. What's the difference between the two?
It's a jutsu versus amalgamation of chakra.
They're both bodies of chakra.
All right,
Nonetheless, yeah,
I'm
go
gonna
ahead.
interject here real quick. My bad, Shinobi. I feel like you guys have provided plenty of evidence for both sides and going all the way around, and then what's it called? And even if you were to talk about like the Tel B says chakra and the Susanoo's chakra, it still is not really defeating the main point before where you're talking. Because remember, we're talking about the fucking Yadomir. So yeah, so this is gonna go on circular. It's gonna be all over. What's it called? Is there anything else you guys have to add? Because basically, this entire round was just we already went over scaling and everything. So now it boils down to the jutsu and arsenal. You know what I mean? Like
Yep.
what they can utilize against each other.
I'm done this time. Like if Shinobi has anything to say, he can, and I just won't say anything. And then we can go to conclusions. And if he's down, I have to get going here soon.
Yeah, okay. Let me just post one more scan.
Okay, go for it.
Do. So this is the Raikage when he faces Minato. He's able to deduce how the flying rising works, things of that nature, even after seeing it one time. Minato is able, I mean, not so, Itachi is able to deduce how to defeat the Chubaku Tensei, things of that nature. He's also known to think on the whim and implement strategies accordingly. So, whatever arsenal Minato has, Itachi's going to figure it out real quick, and he lacks.
Okay.
Yeah, so yeah, I'm not going to go into that again, but yeah, that's it. That's pretty much it for me.
Okay. So do you want to move into conclusions, or
Yeah, absolutely, man.
you mind if I go first real fast?
Again? No, I'm kidding. Yeah, go ahead, bro.
So basically, for my conclusion, when it came to my stats, my scaling with Minato being above Pain, I think I was able to deductively prove that. Did I say Pain? Yeah, Pain. That Minato has feats that Pain just can't replicate with the Ninetales. There's also multiple statements that show that Minato has power on par with like the full Ninetales, while Pain falls short of that. There's also multiple statements showing that Pain's just more powerful than anyone else in the Akatsuki. I don't think Shinobi was able to give any reason for why that wouldn't be true outside of just what he would think would be true without any actual evidence. Then when it came to Shawnobi scaling, a lot of it came down to just assuming that healthy Itachi could outperform his sick variant, and that Itachi has speed that he's never demonstrated because of it. So I think because of that, I deductively proved that Minato would just be faster and take out Itachi.
All right.
Is that it?
Obi. Yeah, that was
cool.
it from him.
All right, so basically, the way I scaled Itachi was above his Edo version, essentially. I also provided information and narrative scans to provide him on par with those on likes of Obito, who I always want to say defeated, but with at least relative to Minato as the Hokage iteration. I've provided scans to put Minato at a realistic speed to KCM1 Naruto, in which Itachi was able to contend with in a base Sharingan as an Edo Tensei. In regards to the whole stick Itachi thing, I think was really just a trap. I mean, none of us can really provide the max capacity of Itachi's prowess at that point in time because he's always sandbagging, always having an ulterior motive behind his battles. Pretty much the whole series, he's always holding back, and that's kind of what makes him so powerful to begin with. So because of that, Itachi has adequate speed. He has an adequate arsenal rather, with his Genjutsu, his Yadamir, being able to defend against anything spiritual, physical, chakra, you name it. He can defend against it. He has the reactionary abilities to defend against any attacks. He has the intellect to deduce the abilities that are being thrown at him. And because of that, Itachi is very advantageous because of his arsenal. It's going to handicap Minato significantly because he can't look at him, presupposing that he does have enough time to react in time to Itachi manifesting that mess to begin with. So, due to abilities, due to speed, I think I put Itachi at a fair, honest, transparent helm. And yeah, I think that was a great debate. So, thank you, brother. Appreciate it, bro.